Canada, the land of maple syrup and breathtaking landscapes, is facing a crisis. The cost of living is skyrocketing, leaving many Canadians struggling to make ends meet. Housing, in particular, has become a major source of stress and anxiety for people across the country. This issue, once a whisper, has become a deafening roar, forcing Canadians to confront an uncomfortable question. Is the Canadian dream slipping out of reach? In major cities like Toronto and Vancouver, finding an affordable place to live feels like searching for a mythical creature. Rent prices have reached dizzying heights, pushing the dream of home ownership further into the realm of fantasy. A 2-bedroom apartment, once attainable for middle-income families, now demands a king's ransom. Young professionals saddled with student debt and facing stagnant wages find themselves trapped in a cycle of rent payments, their hopes of owning a home fading with each passing month. Canada has always prided itself on being a welcoming nation, a mosaic of cultures built on immigration. Historically, the country encouraged immigration to populate its vast expanse, particularly the western provinces. Early immigration policies, while aiming to fill labor gaps, were often discriminatory, favoring certain nationalities over others. Over time, Canada transitioned to a points-based system, prioritizing skilled workers who could contribute to the economy. In 2015, Justin Trudeau swept into power, promising a more open and compassionate Canada. His vision included ambitious immigration targets, aiming to welcome hundreds of thousands of newcomers each year. This influx, while intended to address labor shortages and boost economic growth, has inadvertently fueled the housing crisis. Critics argue that the rapid pace of immigration has outstripped the government's ability to provide adequate housing and infrastructure. The strain on Canada's social fabric is becoming increasingly evident. Public opinion, once largely supportive of immigration, has begun to shift. Concerns about the impact of high immigration levels on housing affordability, healthcare, and social services are growing louder. Protests against mass immigration have erupted in major cities, highlighting the deep divisions within Canadian society. The question of how many newcomers Canada can realistically absorb without compromising the well-being of its citizens has become a contentious debate. While Canada boasts a strong economy on paper, the reality for many Canadians is far less rosy. Yes, the economy has grown, but this growth has been driven by population increases, not necessarily by improvements in productivity or wages. Many Canadians find themselves working longer hours, juggling multiple jobs just to keep their heads above water. The rising cost of living, particularly housing, is eating away at their incomes, leaving them with little to no disposable income. The housing crisis is particularly acute for vulnerable populations, such as students. International students, lured by the promise of a world-class education, are arriving in Canada in record numbers. They often find themselves priced out of the housing market, forced to live in cramped, substandard conditions. Stories of students crammed into basements, sharing rooms with multiple roommates, have become all too common. The dream of a Canadian education is turning into a nightmare for many, as they struggle to find safe and affordable housing. Facing mounting pressure, the Canadian government has announced a slight reduction in immigration targets for the coming year. They acknowledge the need to strike a better balance between welcoming newcomers and ensuring the well-being of existing residents. However, critics argue that these measures are too small and too late. They demand a comprehensive plan that addresses the root causes of the housing crisis, including a significant investment in affordable housing, increased regulation of the real estate market, and a more sustainable approach to immigration. Canada stands at a crossroads. The country's long-standing reputation as a welcoming and prosperous nation is being tested by the current affordability crisis. The government faces a difficult balancing act, maintaining Canada's humanitarian tradition while ensuring the economic well-being of its citizens. The choices made in the coming years will have a profound impact on the future of Canada, shaping the lives of generations to come.